Alrighty, it is 11:09 p.m. on Saturday, November 16th, 2024. My name is Dylan, and this is my show, Dylan Knows, episode 580, not the sexiest man alive. We will find out who was named sexiest man alive for this year in the show pretty early on, probably. It's the first thing on my list, actually. We'll talk about who's getting pregnant or has been pregnant. We'll talk about some casting. Talk about my cat's first birthday, and he's right over there causing trouble already. The return of something that I've never expected to see ever again. Some new sodas coming up. Some shorts, some trailers, some new drinks, anniversaries. Not a lot of deaths. Some Lego stuff. Massive headache right now. We just had our super moon, and we're going to try new Mountain Dew game fuel. There's two Mountain Dew game fuels out now. There's the citrus cherry and the citrus blackberry. The only one that's available at my Giant anyway that was in singles is citrus blackberry. So I figured I should try this first before I bought the 12-pack. They had the 12 packs of both of them, of both the flavors at Giant, but they did not surprisingly have 7-Up Shirley Temple. We'll talk about that in a second, though. It's actually pretty good. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that a lot. Citrus blackberry. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, my Pepper. What are you doing? I gotta get a picture of him. Let's see if I get a picture of him. He's Pepper. Pepper, stick your head down. Your full head. Pepper, stick your full head down. Okay, I can't get him. He's on top of the door over there, so they can't. So we have our Christmas closets over there, but there's so much stuff that the door has to stay open and the light's on, and he's on top of the door. I don't have time for this. But yeah, so that was really good. Citrus blackberry. I'll have to check that out. I might have to get a 12-pack. But yeah, let me rant a second here about grocery store stuff. I get how each grocery store is run by a different group of people. They're all for the same company, and I guess they all choose from the same stuff. I don't know how it actually works. They have a specific budget for each shop that they have to cover, and the people who order the stuff, they just order what they know they can make money on. I'm not exactly sure how the buyers work on this, but every place has its own different little things. Like the White's up the street from me doesn't have any of the cool new sodas at all. Even the Halloween one, I don't think they even had. They might have had it in the bottles, but I don't think they actually had the cans. And they have a specific ice cream, a different type of rainbow sherbet than the one that for Baskin Robbins rainbow sherbet that the Giant has a different one also. The Food Lion has a different one. The Giants don't even have rainbow sherbet anymore. Their freezers are, both of the Giants near me, both their freezers completely frozen with snow on it, and the snow is covering it. So I don't know what's going on with that. Hello, 1-year-old kitty. But I like these types of sodas, and the 7-Up Shirley Temple, which was outstanding. I tried that last week, I think, and enjoyed it immensely. And my son and daughter loved it also. So we finished off that 12-pack very quickly. So the only place I could find it was at the place I got it was at this Giant down the road from me. But I figured I'd check one of the other Giants this week to see if they had it. I know Weiss doesn't have it, so I went to the other Giant that's a little bit bigger and newer than the one that I got it at. They didn't even have it at all. They had the game fuel, but they didn't have the 7-Up Shirley Temple. So then I thought I would go to the Food Lion. The Food Lion that had used to be really good for me. Used to have every type of Mountain Dew. There was one time I was up there like last month. It had the Halloween one. It had the Voltage. It had the raspberry lemonade one. It had the Code Red. It had the regular one. It still had some of the 4th of July ones, and it had some of the regular Mountain Dew and some of the Baja stuff. Today it was like decimated, and they didn't have the 7-Up either, Shirley Temple, which surprised me a lot. And I've been noticing the last 2 weeks when I've gone to the Food Line up the street from me that they really haven't had a lot of stuff. And the only reason why I really go up there is because Arby's is up there, and Arby's has an outstanding deep fried turkey club sandwich. Is probably only going to last until through Thanksgiving. And that pisses me off because it's so good. Ow, stop. And excuse me, what are you doing? And so I was like, okay, let me go back to the Giant that I got it originally from. So I went on to my third grocery store, and I went to that, and I found the display for it, but it was decimated also, and all they seemed to have was the zero sugar, which I did not want. Pepper. I did not want the zero sugar one. I wanted the regular one. And so I was despondent because they didn't have the regular. Look like they had all the zero sugar one. So I took one last look at the cases, and I found actually 2 of the regular 7-Ups that were buried under the zero sugar. So I grabbed one of those, and that's it. So what happened? Why aren't you ordering more? It looks like it's decimated. It's been that way for about a month now. It looks like it's been decimated. And then the only place I haven't gone is Safeway yet. Safeway down the road always seems to have all the new stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to maybe get it there then. But I find it odd that, 2 completely different places, Giants, did not have the same stuff in it. And then, of course, I know Weiss is different and Safeway is different, but they didn't have a lot of the same stuff also that everybody has an opportunity to order from. So I'm not sure how that actually goes, but yeah, I also want to talk about that Arby's deep fried turkey club is outstanding. If you have a chance, it has that, and there's also the Gobbler, which doesn't look as good to me, but you might like it. But it is a fantastic sandwich. It's my second one in 2 weeks. I'll probably go back again next weekend because it is that good. It is so good. And then went to dinner with my son to IHOP because my wife and daughter are camping. It's my daughter's last camping trip as a scout. She's going to age out in December, and now she'll only be available for adult stuff. But this is her last one as a scout, so she can hang out with the scouts and do scout stuff. And then when she goes to another camping thing in January, she'll be as an adult. And she won't be able to really hang out with the kids that much. She'll be hanging out with the adults and making sure the kids do stuff. It's going to be weird, but that's the way it is. So we went to IHOP, and their menu was stacked. It wasn't as stacked when we went there back in the summer. The fall-winter one was stacked, and they had this outstanding breakfast burrito. Had bacon, sausage, eggs, cheese, hash browns, hollandaise sauce, and a burrito skin. And oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. They also had a caramel apple lemonade, which was decent. It wasn't great, but it was okay. My son had this blue raspberry refresher thing, which was really, really good also. We got to try each one of them. So that's pretty cool. So that's what's going on here. So as I said also earlier, Pepper, my kitty you just saw, it's now somewhere around here, turned 1 year old on Wednesday. So we haven't had him for a full year. My friend Sarah was the nursed him or whatever, housed him, whatever that is, till he was old enough to come to our house in April. So we've had him for 7 of those 12 months. So he's quite the character, as you saw. And so that was fun. And on Friday, after it has to have been about 2 years at least, we finally got a dishwasher installed. Now, we had gotten the dishwasher for our anniversary, October 4th, and then they were going to come to put it in on October 11th. But when they got here, we had to fix the sink because they couldn't attach it with our bad trash compactor and some other stuff. So we brought a plumber in, and he installed the trash compactor and did some new pipe work that we needed to get fixed on. And so finally, my wife was trying to contact them, and it took them about a month to finally get back to us because we had paid for them to install it and remove our old one. And so Friday, she's been taking every Monday and Friday off because she's got to kill her vacation because her company starts their new year in December. And so she doesn't really take a lot of vacations during the year. She's been there 25 years, so she's got like 7 weeks of vacation. So she can roll over 1 week of it, but the rest of it she needs to kill. And then she takes a week off for summer camp and a week off at spring break. So she still has got like 4 weeks of vacation, and she takes days off periodically here and there, but she's the type of person who doesn't do that all that often. So in order to kill her vacation, she's been taking every Friday and Monday off since October, and it's going to go through November. And then she's not going to take off the Monday before Thanksgiving. Instead, she's going to take the Wednesday before Thanksgiving off, and then that'll be her last vacation that she uses, because then her new year starts on December 12th or December 2nd, and she gets, which is that Monday, and she gets all of that vacation back again. So that's interesting about that. So she was there to get it to install. And the funny thing is, my son right now is the only one who's putting stuff in the dishwasher. I'm still putting in dishes in the sink. I don't know why. Something I've been used to. As I said, it's been about 2 years since I've done that. So that's what's going on with me, but that's not what you're here for. You are here for your daily dose of pop culture. So let's get to it. So as I said at the beginning of the show, I am not the sexiest man alive. I know, shocker, right? But John Krasinski is this year. He was picked by People's Magazine to be sexiest man alive, John Krasinski. Yeah, he's okay, but a lot of people are freaking out about it. They thought that Glenn Powell had a good chance of winning it this year because of his. He all of a sudden has come out of nowhere with Twisters, Anyone But You, and the Hitman movie, and he was not chosen. He might come in second or whatever. I don't know. And there have been some other people that were saying other people should have gotten it, but John Krasinski won the Sexiest Man Alive contest. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to Emily Blunt, who is his wife. So good for him. Now, Alexandra Daddario and oh crap, my mind isn't working right. I have this bad headache right now. The actress played Barbie. Jesus Christ. It's going to hit me like a ton of bricks. Margot Robbie. Yep, Margot Robbie. Both had children this year, earlier this month, or last month. It was last month, actually. But apparently Jennifer Lawrence is also pregnant. I might have mentioned it on my show, on the show, but I don't remember. It was the first I heard of it. She's pregnant, so she should be due maybe by early next year, I think. I think she's been pregnant for a while now, and I believe this isn't the first I've heard of it, but I just kind of forgot that she got pregnant also. So it's pretty cool that a lot of our younger actresses are starting to start their families now. So that's pretty cool. Conan O'Brien has been tasked to host next year's Oscars after rumors that Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds were going to do it. It is now officially a Conan O'Brien joint. So he's going to be hosting the Oscars next year. It's the first time he's done it. We'll see how well it was. He hasn't done his show for a while, so he's a decent writer. So we'll see how things go. Speaking of that, Conan O'Brien started his career writing for The Simpsons. The Simpsons have a new Lego set coming out soon. No news on it yet, but the Lego Spy says that there is one coming soon. So fans of the Legos and Simpsons, you'll be able to get a new Lego Simpsons set probably sometime next year, probably. The Frasier reboot on Paramount Plus, I believe, just concluded its second season. And that might be it. Paramount has not announced a third season yet. They announced the second season, I think, even before the first season came out. So the fact that they haven't announced a third season yet is potentially signs that didn't quite do what we were expecting, so we might be getting rid of it. But we don't know at this time. But as of now, no third season has been. Frasier has not been picked up for a third season yet. Is it possible it still could? Absolutely, it's possible it still could. Just because it didn't get done as quickly as the second season did doesn't mean that it's not going to get done. But the most part, a lot of people believe that this might be it for the Frasier reboot. Sophie Turner, Game of Thrones, and Phoenix from the Singer X-Men years, is set to appear as Lara Croft in the Prime Tomb Raider series. And again, a lot of people are kind of upset about that casting. Not exactly sure why. She's a decent actress. I guess she didn't really do a whole lot of action in Game of Thrones or really Phoenix. I guess she did some in Phoenix as Phoenix. But I guess they just, I don't know, a bias of Game of Thrones by something. I'm not exactly sure how that is. But yeah, that's what it is. You just have to deal with it. Beatles 64 trailer. Disney Plus has been doing a really good job with their documentaries. I really need to get caught up on them because there's a ton of them that I want to watch. They've got a new one, Beatles 64, which is going to cover the Beatles rise, and it's going to be due out on Black Friday, actually, November 29th. Makes sense. So there we go. It's amazing that I'm saying these words right now, but Pamela Anderson may be up for an Oscar. Her movie, The Last Showgirl, got a first trailer. I'm not sure if it's coming out this year. If it's not coming out this year, it'll be out definitely next year. So from what people are saying is that this is a defining role for Pamela Anderson. And she's been virtually hidden for a while since she finally got away from that shitbag Kid Rock. So she's been out of sight for a long period of time. And of course, she's getting older because people get older. So the sexiness may or may not be there according to your standards. I haven't really taken a good look at her because in The Last Showgirl, she's really putting on a character role. So the way she looks in that is not necessarily how she looks in real life. But it's from Gia Coppola, who I guess is one of Francis's grandchildren or second, is related to him somewhere. It's got to be. But the buzz is outstanding on this. I think it debuted at one of these film festivals and people have been buzzing about it. Plus the fact that she also was cast in the Naked Gun reboot with Liam Neeson, and he's been saying that he absolutely loves working with Pamela Anderson because they're filming it right now, or they just about finished it. He said that he's had an absolute blast working with her. Means we might be in for a Pamela Anderson reboot, as it were. And this film is surprisingly getting some potential Oscar buzz. Check it out for yourself. The first teaser trailer for The Last Showgirl with Pamela Anderson from Gia Coppola is out now. Speaking of people coming back, Cameron Diaz, who's been missing for a long time as well. I mentioned her return in the Jamie Foxx film Back in Action. And there were some issues with on the filming of that movie, but it's finally done. The first trailer debuted this week. It's set to debut on January 17th on Netflix. So you can see Cameron Diaz back in action with Jamie Foxx. I think it's an action film. So it should be interesting to see that. Going from returns to remakes, Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things and the Ghostbusters, new Ghostbusters franchise and the It movies, and Jason Reitman, also from the Ghostbusters movies and Ivan's Son, are set to remake the classic 1990s horror comedy Idle Hands that starred Devon Sawa and Eldon Henson and Seth Green. And I'm not surprised because they're remaking everything, but Idle Hands was not a huge hit. It was an entertaining hit. It did good business, and not a lot of people had ever heard of it. I've seen it because I liked it, and I thought it was a pretty decent horror film. I think it was in my 13 Days of Halloween, one of those one of the lists that I did for that. That was maybe been a couple of them, but I can Finn Wolfhard do the physical comedy that Devon Sawa was so good at? I don't know. And Jason Reitman directing it, we'll see. But I can't make any cases. But that is a remake in the works right now. Probably will not start filming until next year, and probably will not be due out if they get it done. If they get started soon, and maybe come out by Halloween next year, but probably won't be out till 2026. But I just don't. I don't see it as the world clamoring for a remake of Idle Hands. It's a decent enough movie, but I don't really know if it has a huge fan base. And maybe that's why they're remaking it, because they want to get, people don't know about it or never saw it. The Order trailer coming out December 6th with Jude Law, Nicholas Hoult, Ty Sheridan, and Jamie Smollett. Didn't really watch it, didn't really care, but it's out there. So if you want to check it out, go ahead. If you like Jude Law particularly. What else? The Amateur trailer, movie coming out next year, April 11th, with Rami Malek and Lawrence Fishburne. Gets his first trailer this week. The Nutcrackers trailer coming out on Black Friday on Hulu. Ben Stiller makes a return. Don't know if he's directing it, but he is making a triumphant return to movies with Linda Calderino. And basically, it's a Christmas film. And what I generally get from it is I think it's an Uncle Buck movie via Overboard type of thing. I'm not exactly, you get a little bit of idea from the trailer, but Ben Stiller plays a guy who has been asked by Linda Calderino's social worker to take on the parenting duties of 3 children who just lost their parents. Now, I'm not sure if he's related to these kids or why they picked him to be the surrogate parent for them. I'm not sure, but the 3 kids and where they live reminds me of the squalor that the kids lived in with Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn and Overboard. And they are pretty much sort of the same sort of attitudes. And of course, it's going to be a simple cliched sort of thing where Ben Stiller is the straight-laced sort of guy who learns to loosen up a little bit, hanging out with these kids and trying to take care of them. And then these kids who are just disasters and horrible because of their situation. You got to feel sorry for them. They lost their parents. They're aimless. They don't know what's going on with them, with things. So they're lashing out at stuff, and they're going to learn to be better children also. So it's a typical sort of Christmas movie, set to debut on Hulu on Black Friday. So check it out. I won't be able to see it because I don't have Hulu, and I'm not going to get Hulu just to see this. But there you go. The Night Agent gets its first trailer coming out January 23rd, 2025 from Netflix. It is joining the growing amount of huge shows coming out for streaming in 2025. 2025 to me is probably going to be one of the biggest streaming years in history when it comes to television shows. Just the severe amount of second seasons and third seasons of shows that were delayed due to the writer's strike and COVID are finally coming to fruition here. And it is going to be insane how many of these are coming out. And if they're not, if they, hopefully they will not cannibalize each other. Hopefully it'll probably build up the streaming services again as we're entering the dark ages in 2025. So we will see if this will help us get through the dark ages. So the Night Agent is one of the first ones to come out because it is a fairly popular series, and we're getting a new season of it here. Speaking of another one that's due out next year, another streaming show, Wednesday got a casting coup. Wednesday season 2 has cast Lady Gaga in an undisclosed role right now. So that's just adding to how big Wednesday is going to be. Season 2 is going to be coming out next year also. I talked about Finn Wolfhard already. Stranger Things final season is coming out next year also. Sandman will be out next year. One Piece live action is going to be out next year. What else? There's a whole bunch of other ones that are just absolutely insane coming our way. Werewolf Game trailer is the last film by Tony Todd. I don't know much about it, but it's got a trailer for this week coming out. The Boy and His Octopus is a short film that you can watch on Disney Plus. It's directed by Taika Waititi of Jojo Rabbit fame, which I just actually watched literally an hour ago. So check it out. It's on Disney Plus right now. The Boy and His Octopus. It is animated, so pretty cool. All right. Advanced Auto Parts is going to be closing more than 700 locations here. That's not good. I wonder why that happened and why it was announced after the election. So we'll see what happens with that. To cope with stuff, it appears that adults are buying more toys than children, or buying more toys for themselves than they are for their children, as sort of a nostalgia, something comfortable in these dark, terrible times that we're going to be entering in here in a second, hence the shirt I'm wearing. If you know, you know. So that's always kind of interesting. There is some light in the darkness. The Onion, yes, that Onion, wins the auction for the rights to InfoWars, that shitty right-wing piece of garbage podcast show where I'm not even gonna remember the dude's name. I don't give a fuck about him. He's a piece of shit who biggest claim to fame was claiming that the shooting at Shady Brook back in the 2012 that killed elementary school students, lots of them, was a faked shooting. And the families of the people who lost their children sued his fucking ass off, and they won. And part of his way to pay off the big court settlement that they made for it, he had to sell his InfoWars. And the rumor was that he had convinced a shell company to put up the money to buy it so that they could continue doing his good work. But the Onion's like, not so fast. And so the Onion swooped in and bought the rights to it. And what they're going to do is they're going to keep the name InfoWars, and they're going to turn it into making fun of the right-wingers who like that type of show. So that's a win for us. They could be our shining light in these dark times coming up. So go for it, Onion. I would love to get a job with you doing one of those shows. And I got to find this one because this is very, very good. Don't get me wrong, it's very good. And I always like finding new drinks. I have to find the Arizona Frozen Chillazide. Flavors of strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, cranberries, infused with lemon and orange, and finishes with vanilla. It sounds effing amazing, and I need to find it so I can try it on the show. All right, anniversaries for this week. Logan's Run. That's a movie probably no one has ever heard of before, but most people who know. 48 years ago this week. Cape Fear, the Martin Scorsese remake with Robert De Niro and Nick Nolte, came out 33 years ago this week. Space Jam with Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny, directed by Joe Dante. And I think Brendan Fraser's in that as well. Debuted 28 years ago this week. Love Actually, Just in Time for Christmas, 21 years ago this week. The Jackal, the Richard Gere remake of The Day of the Jackal, came out 27 years ago this week. And Band-Aid, the band behind Do They Know It's Christmas Time at All? Dun, 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 which was a bunch of British pop stars of the time in 1984 who made a song that was to help Ethiopian famine relief and became a huge hit because most of the people in that band were huge pop stars in the 1980s pop music scene. Debuted 40 years ago this week. Now, that's interesting because I have one memory of that. When the original 45 came out, yes, records, yes, I'm old. When the original record came out, the 45, my sister wanted to have a Christmas party at our house with her friends. and she was able to convince my parents to allow it. So we had to stay upstairs. So I think it's before my parents got divorced. We had to stay upstairs, and she had the party downstairs. Now, we had the coolest, typical 1970s, 80 record player. It was a chest, about the length of this table from, you can't even see it over here to over here. It's this big. That you open it up. It had an 8-track in it, had a radio in it. Speakers were built into the sides. It looked like a piece of furniture. And then it had the record player. And then it had slots for your records and slots for your 45s, slots for your 8-tracks, and places to put the adapters that you needed for all that stuff. And my sister got the 45 for Do They Know It's Christmas and played it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. At the party, but it's one of the biggest bands ever, and the United States aped it 2 years later with We Are the World, but Band-Aid did it first 40 years ago this week. I'm doing it on paper again because I need something to do at work on Friday. So Denzel Washington is doing the rounds for Gladiator 2, which is out next Friday. Holy shit, so is Wicked. Oh my God. We're screaming towards Thanksgiving. Jesus. It's the 16th, right? 12 days to Thanksgiving. Holy fuck. 2 of those are weekends, so technically 3 is because Sunday and today, technically 4 of them were. So anyway, regardless, I digress. So he's doing the rounds for Gladiator 2. And he mentioned in one of his interviews that Ryan Coogler, who directed the first 2 Black Panthers, has written a role for him in Black Panther 3. Now, that's very interesting for a number of reasons. One, no Black Panther 3 has been announced yet by Marvel or Disney. It's a slam dunk because it is a franchise that should continue to exist despite the loss of Chadwick Boseman. And the second movie, while not one of my favorites, was still fairly decent. And second, the fact that Denzel Washington is going to be entering the MCU in some form or another is freaking outstanding. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm hoping that we get that sooner than later. We'll find out for that. I'm really getting sick and tired of this. It's not funny anymore. It's gotten to the point where it's stupid. It's boring. We've seen it a million times. When you take Disney characters who are now out of copyright and are in the public domain, and you make a horror movie out of them, it's not clever anymore. It's not funny. It's stupid. It's a waste of time. And it only goes direct to video anyway, and half of them suck ass. That being said, this one actually is an interesting idea, but you didn't need to connect it to Disney. You could have just done a Killer Mermaid movie. Instead, you decided to call it the Killer Little Mermaid and have the mermaid probably be named Ariel and have her whole storyline where she gets, captured by humans, but instead of, falling in love with them, she kills them. You could have easily done the biggest, most popular Killer Mermaid movie ever, because I don't think there ever has been one. Splash wasn't a Killer Mermaid. That was a fucking rom-com. So I don't think there was a Killer Mermaid movie. And to be fair, the only Killer Mermaid I know is from The Cabin in the Woods. And that's Merman anyway. So I would have, if you didn't have to connect it to Disney's Little Mermaid, you could have just made a Killer Mermaid movie and that would have been awesome. But instead, you had to be cool and awesome to call it the Little Mermaid horror film, and the trailer's out for it now. It looks decent, but I'm getting sick of seeing not just Disney, because there's another one in here I think I'm going to just talk about now because I know it's in here. It's found one of these other pages. The Popeye is apparently in the public domain now, and they're making a Popeye horror film. I don't know. I'm at a loss. Taron Egerton joins Charlize Theron in Apex, a survival thriller, coming out probably next year. Sounds pretty decent. Y2K gets a new trailer. That's from A24's new movie coming out in December. It's the first movie set during the Y2K scare in 1999-2000. They are changing up the storyline a little bit because Y2K itself was a boring piece of trash. Nothing happened. It was exciting seeing the whole talk about what happened from 1900 to 2000, and it was splashed all over the news networks and stuff like that. And being in Ocean City, New Jersey, and watching it and doing the Millennium version of Trivial Pursuit and all that stuff. And then my wife, I learned after we started dating, was actually in Times Square when it shifted to 2000 as well. And she says, not a fan, never going to do it again. So, but this is the first kind of movie that they are referencing Y2K and actually setting it during that period. And they're turning it into a horror film where something actually does happen. Like everyone's fear was that computers were going to crash and everything's going to break down, stuff like that. Instead, they're going to, in this case, they're having the robot or the all mechanical stuff get like AI sentience and are going after the kids at this party. It's an intriguing idea for a movie set during a time that a lot of people still grew up around, 1999, 2000. I know I grew up around it. I was only 26 years old when it happened. So we'll see. Colin Farrell is getting, and Christine Milioti are getting huge raves for their Penguin miniseries. Penguin miniseries has ended its season, and so Colin Farrell's doing the rounds also, and he says that his Penguin is signed on for 3 Batman movies. Already did the first one, did this show, but then he's supposedly going to be in Batman 2, and then there's going to be a third one, and then we'll see what happens after that. And Colin Farrell has signed on to be Penguin in all those. He's a decent Penguin. It's unbelievable that is Colin Farrell under all that makeup. He's a damn good actor. I haven't watched it because that's Max, and I don't own Max. But from what I read, and I like Christine Milioti as well, I heard it's extraordinarily good and well worth it. Mary trailer debuted this week. It's a movie set debut December 6th on Netflix. And yes, it's about Mother Mary, mother of Jesus, wife of Joseph, just in time for the holiday season, a religious film, which is fine. They absolutely deserve to have a film. Hopefully it's going to be done better than some of the other Mary biopics that are out there. So we'll see what happens. My Chemical Romance. That's a name you probably haven't heard for a long time. Band is set to tour again next year with one stipulation. They will only be performing their album, The Black Porch, I think it's what it is, The Black Porch. Is probably their biggest, most famous album, I think. And they will just be performing the songs from that album in its entirety. And that is going to be the tour. And so the fans are starting to lose their mind because My Chemical Romance hasn't toured in a long time. They want to hear all their songs. But it is not an unusual thing to just do a tour with just one album. They Might Be Giants did this last year when they were doing a tour where they were just playing songs from Flood. So it's not that big of a deal. I can understand, being a fan, you haven't seen them in tour for a long time, and then they're just going to do one album, all the songs on it. You might not have liked all the songs on that album. And you want to hear maybe your favorite songs on one of their other albums, and you're not going to hear it, not even on encores. They're just doing the album, The Black Porch, all the songs from that. I have no problem with that. I'm not a fan, so it doesn't affect me. So I know that it's going to upset the fans. I understand why it's upsetting the fans, but it is not something unique or has never happened before or whatever, because there is precedent. They Might Be Giants, as I said, has done it with Flood. And I'm sure there's probably other bands out there that I have no idea about that probably do just tours of just their, where they just sing just songs from one album. Doesn't make it does. It's not that big of a deal. It's not unusual. Olivia Munn is pregnant also. I talked about Jennifer Lawrence being pregnant. Olivia Munn is pregnant, and the father is John Mulaney. What's interesting about that is Olivia Munn went on her interview tour or whatever and said that she barely knew John Mulaney when she got pregnant. They had just started to see each other. So I guess the first time they had sex, hello, baby time. But they're together now and have been together now for a little while. So they know each other now, but when it first happened, there we go. Well, actually, they haven't known each other a long time because she hasn't had the baby yet. So that's the story. Pokemon and Dua Lipa are collaborating on a new music video. I don't think I need to say anything more about that. New Alien Earth teaser. I didn't watch it. I probably should have before I did the show, but it's the new Alien show coming on Hulu probably next year to add to the intense streaming that will be happening next year. Alien Earth teaser trailer came out this week as well. Bridget Jones returns in a new movie called Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy. The new trailer came out for it. I don't know when it's due out, but Renee Zellweger and Colin Firth reprised their roles from the previous two movies. And I think the Bridget Jones stories are based on a book series, so it doesn't make a lot. It's not unusual that a new one's coming out. It's unusual how long it took between the last one and this one. And the fact that no one's really heard Renee Zellweger. So another comeback here. Avatar, the live action Avatar, however, as far as I know, it is probably not set to debut until 2026. But I would not be surprised if, because this 2025 is going to be a huge streaming year. It would not surprise me if it might slip in at the end of the year. I don't think that's going to happen, though, because I think they're still filming it. They still have a lot of special effects. And they just cast the Earth Kingdom crew. I'm not going to name them. There's like 10 actors in it and actresses. And they're all Asian. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just want to point that out, because it means the live action Avatar people are actually doing a good job of adapting a Asian story with Asian actors and actresses. So they have been cast, so we know that's going to be coming, but probably not 2025. Again, it wouldn't surprise me. They slipped it in December. Don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to just do it in the first quarter of 2026, probably. Now I have citrus blackberry here, but apparently Ocean Spray has a special edition mulled blackberry pear drink that's only available at Walmart and Aldi, I think is what that is. Oh, that's good stuff. I like that one. So that sounds actually good, though. So I'm going to try that as well. And they say you can use it it's good for warm or cold. Mulled usually means you want to probably have it warm, but it said that it should taste just as good warmed as cold. Whereas if you tried to warm Ocean Spray cranberry juice, probably wouldn't get the same flavor and taste to it. But since it's a mulled juice drink, it'll probably work either way, warm or cold. Christmas cookies, Blue Bell ice cream is another new thing also coming out. Blue Bell, I don't know if any of my grocery stores do that. Again, it's one of those things that they probably have orders for it, and there might be in there, but I've never had it before, never seen it before. But the Christmas cookie ice cream is coming up here soon. And to get into the holiday season as well, Berea Pasta is also doing a snowflake pasta. So the pasta looks like snowflakes. That's kind of it. Actually, it's kind of interesting, actually. No pasta company has ever done anything like that, but you could do like pumpkin face pastas and heart pastas and 4-leaf clover pastas and American flag pastas, or just flags, since who knows what's going to happen next year for 4th of July. So we'll see what happens. Gladiator 2, as I said, is set to debut on Friday. Gladiator, the original one with Russell Crowe, entered the 4K zone this past week. So good on that. We got our first look at Glenn Powers as Glenn Powell as Chad Powers. Don't know much about that movie too much, but there it is. Poker Face, which is an outstanding show that is also probably set to debut in 2025. Again, only on Hulu, but I did get the DVD of the first season, so I want to check that out. Actually, I haven't gotten it yet. It's on my list. Hopefully I'll get it for Christmas. Or if I don't, I'll just buy it myself. But it has cast Aquafina, Simon Rex, Method Man, and Corey Heaton. So it continues to impress with its casting and stuff like that. D23 Brazil happened this week, so we got some Disney news. Not a lot of interesting Disney news, but some cool stuff. The first really kind of interesting Disney news is we got some Percy Jackson behind the scenes footage of season 2, also set to debut in 2025. And we also discovered that Andra Day has been cast as Athena in Percy Jackson season 2. So she looks pretty good in that as well. Pepper, what are you doing? So is there anything else? I'm sure there's some other stuff that's going to pop up. But right now that's all I have. We also got a trailer for Almost Christmas short film, like the Boy and His Octopus ones, also on Disney Plus, came out yesterday on Disney Plus, so it's out there now. Carry On full trailer. I'm not sure exactly what Carry On is. Oh, Carry On is that new Christmas action film set to debut on Netflix on December 13th. The full trailer for it, they had a teaser come out not too long ago. The full trailer came out this week. Godzilla Chia Pet, why not? It's Godzilla's 70th anniversary. Why not create a Chia Pet for Godzilla? We got our first look at The Return, and The Return trailer starring Ralph Fiennes and Juliette Binoche, which is a adaptation of The Odyssey, Homer's The Odyssey. Again, that's one I probably should have taken a look at because I'm kind of interested in that, but I ran out of time or I just forgot. Mission Impossible, the final Retribution trailer for the potentially final Mission Impossible movie set to debut next summer was released. And I'm telling you, Tom Cruise is starting to look his age a little bit in these movies. So this may very well be the last one. And they're setting it up to be kind of be sort of a farewell to the Mission Impossible crew. So we'll see if that actually happens. My prediction now for that is that movie is going to be a huge hit next summer. Most of those movies do really, really well. But if they're going to be playing this is the final act sort of thing, so some of what Fast and the Furious is doing, they're also doing their final act next year also. So we'll see if that actually plays out. But I think Mission Impossible is going to make some good bank next year and be one of the biggest grossing movies of the year. That's just my prediction right now. Lee Pace has set to join the Running Man reboot with Glenn Powell, which is currently filming right now. Not much to say about it. They've had some behind-the-scenes stuff, but nothing that has jumped out at people. Just some shots of Glenn Powell looking like Glenn Powell doing Glenn Powell stuff. Mattel apologizes after a porn site is mistakenly printed on the Wicked doll box. So people who wanted to get Barbie doll-esque dolls of the Wicked characters, supposedly if you would have gone to have this website in the back for more Wicked info or whatever people went to it, it's actually a porn website and not the website that they were hoping you would go to. So they apologize for that, and they're going to fix that in the end. Anniversaries. Bram Stoker's Dracula debuted 32 years ago this week. And Dogma debuted 25 years ago this week. Next year is going to be the year of Dogma. It's a shame that all the stuff didn't get taken care of this year for its 25th anniversary, but next year it's going to be all Dogma all the time since Kevin Smith got the rights reverted back to him this year. And couldn't happen to a better person because Dog was my favorite Kevin Smith movie of all time. All right, that one's in there. Megan Fox joins Jennifer Lawrence and Olivia Munn as getting pregnant, this time with her boyfriend, Machine Gun Kelly, expecting their first child here. Hiro Murani is set to direct Bushido, a samurai movie coming out here soon. Skittles popped freeze-dried candy. Have no idea what that is or what that's going to taste like or whatever, but that is out now. All right, talked about that one already. This is some big news also for those who are interested in the Harry Potter TV show that Max is going to start producing here probably next year, and they're going to release maybe the first season in 2026. Sorry, not coming out in 2025 because they haven't even started filming it yet or even casting it yet. But they have circled one cast member, and they have not officially signed him yet, but all signs are pointing that he is going to take the job. I mean, it'd be stupid not to, but Professor Dumbledore looks like he will be played by actor Mark Rylance, who worked on a bunch of Steven Spielberg movies recently. Sorry, a little bit of trouble breathing there. So that's interesting to see that. So if that comes to fruition, pretty decent casting. Mark Rylance is a good actor. He's young enough, so he won't have the potential that Richard Harris we knew was on the downslide of his health and stuff like that. And then we don't have the intense insanity of Michael Gambon, who also passed away recently too. So the fact that you're not having like an ultra old actor play the role of Dumbledore and means you really all in on it. I think Mark Rylance is a good choice for that. PB&J M&Ms are apparently out now, and I can't even imagine what they're going to taste like, but they are out now, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Also from D23 Brazil, the What If Season 3 trailer set to debut on December 22nd. Pretty much a lot of the characters who are in that are going to be voiced by their live-action counterparts. Thor is going to be by Chris Hemsworth, Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch. Florence Pugh is going to be Elena. Catherine Hans, Agatha, I know, so on and so forth. Not Pedro Pascal. The guy who played Moon Knight. Not Pedro Pascal. Oscar Isaac. Oscar Isaac will be voicing Moon Knight as well. What If Season 3 set debut December 22nd. Now, earlier this month or last month or whatever, a couple weeks ago, I announced that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the 1 hour animated classic, which is going to be celebrating its 60th anniversary this year, is going to be shifting to NBC after being on CBS for so long. And NBC will be airing it on December 6th, which is where it aired 60 years earlier when it debuted for the first time ever on television. And it is not alone. Frosty the Snowman has also decided to jump ship to CBS, from CBS to NBC as well, and will be joining Rudolph on December 6th as a double feature sort of thing. Now, I don't know how it's going to work out because Rudolph is close to an hour, whereas Frosty's only a half hour. So I don't know if they're going to add something else in there or what. So we'll find out. But Frosty will be joining Rudolph on NBC, and they will both be debuting on December 6th. So Eminem is set to cameo in Happy Gilmore 2. It's already building up a bunch of cameos already. Travis Kelce's cameoing it as well. So we'll see how that all plays out when that comes out probably next year. Kevin Feige announces that Wanda will return to the MCU and not just in What If. They are working on bringing her back to live action in some form or another, with Elizabeth Olsen reprising the role, obviously, because you can't do it without her because she's freaking awesome. So we'll see if it's going to be in Doomsday or Secret Wars or the a different or her own movie. We don't know what's going to happen, but Kevin Feige said she is coming back. Yes, these are all other. That's right. I was talking about what other we have. Last of Us, White Lotus, and Peacemaker season 2 are all set to make their streaming debuts or new seasons in 2025 as well. So again, you have those three with all the other ones we've already talked about. 2025 is going to be freaking huge for streaming. And I might have to do a complete show in 2025 about all the streaming shows that we got out there, because we've already talked about a number of them and there's still a ton left to come. So we'll see what happens with that. There is a Grendel movie based on the character Grendel from Beowulf. And we get our first look at the Grendel character, who was created by the Jim Henson Company. So it actually looks pretty decent, to be fair. So you go, man. John Malkovich is rumored to be playing Red Ghost in the Fantastic Four movie, which, according to the actor who plays Johnny Storm, has only 2 weeks left to film. I think it's on this side. So that will be, that will be finishing up here soon as well. And it will make its July debut very shortly. Pedro Pascal has also been confirmed to return for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I don't think we'll see his face, but we will have his voice. He'll be doing the voice work of the Mandalorian. I said earlier that I went to IHOP with my son for dinner today. Well, an IHOP Applebee's joint restaurant is set to debut somewhere in the United States. I was actually sure the first one ever set to debut here very shortly. So good on that. Last week, the awful Carolina Panthers played the awful New York Giants in Germany, and Germany deserves so much better. Two better teams than those two to play football in their stadium, but they played in Germany last week. And Sean Hockley, who was the referee at that game, surprised everybody by calling the first penalty that he called in that game in German. Now, the rest of the time it was done in English, but he actually learned it in German and I guess was waiting for the right time to pull it out. Not necessarily the first time, but whatever. And he pulled it out, and the German fans went absolutely apeshit for it, which is awesome. So more of that. Sean Hockley. A 6.8 earthquake has hit Cuba last week. So we're seeing a lot more earthquake activity over the last month or so. A bunch in California, one in Oregon last week, and now over here in Cuba. 6.8 is not one to sneeze at. So that was a pretty decent sized one over there. Phil Dunstan from Ted Lasso joined Steve Carell in the new HBO comedy series from Bill Lawrence and Matt Towns, set on a college campus. So that'll be interesting to see him. He played on Ted Lasso was the I can't think of the character's name, but he was the guy who was the young stud player who went back to his old team, and then they kicked him out, and he rejoined this team and learned to be a better person. Logan Paul and Mike Tyson had their long-awaited fight yesterday on Netflix, and it went pretty much how people expect it to go. Mike Tyson is a 58-year-old man with bad legs and bad eyesight. Logan Paul is a 27-year-old YouTube influencer punk-ass bitch who's been making a name for himself recently for paying older former heavyweight champions out of retirement to box him, and he's beaten them easily because they're out of shape and they are in their 50s and 60s, and it makes him look like that he's this greatest fighter of all time, but he's a punk-ass little bitch is what he is. So everybody was hoping that Mike Tyson would put him in his place. They were hoping that Mike Tyson would squash his head like a grape and utterly destroy him. Logan Paul won the competition. However, he did not win via knockout. He won because he ran like a little bitch. Mike Tyson got one hit in his face and clocked him good. And from that point on, Logan Paul was running away from him and getting little hits in periodically. So after 8 rounds, a 58-year-old man who's in better shape than a punk-ass little 27-year-old punk and still held his own for 16 to 24 minutes in a ring, lost without getting knocked out or even getting hurt badly. Mike Tyson was forced to go after him because Logan Paul was running around like a little bitch. And now everybody's like, is he now a legitimate boxer? No, he fucking isn't. If you really want to be a legitimate boxer, you don't go after older, former heavyweight people and pay them $20 million to come out of retirement and box them and beat them to show that you're so much tougher. If you want to show how tough you are, why don't you take on people your own age who are actual now professionally in boxing? All these guys have been retired for years. Yes, they're classics. Evander Holyfield, Tyson, Buster Douglas. They're all huge. They were all huge guys in the 80s and 90s, but they're all now old and retired. Why don't you face some of the guys who are actually in their prime and vying for a heavyweight championship? Why don't you make that your new thing? Why don't you try for the heavyweight championship of the world? Because you know you're going to get your ass whooped the minute you walk in there. 3 seconds, you're dead. Fucking little bitch. So that happened. And the biggest problem with that was on Netflix. And they were having massive issues. They could not handle the traffic. 65 million people watched it at one time, was the height of its thing. And from what I heard, I was just reading off of the social media. They said that it was awful because it was pausing and spiraling and it was in and out and you couldn't really see very well because it would come in and then it would fade out just because it's streaming and it couldn't handle the amount of traffic it was getting. They better fucking fix that because in about a month, they're going to be hosting 2 major football games, including one with my team, the Ravens, on Christmas fucking Day. And if they have not fixed their streaming issue, I'll be fucking pissed because I don't want to watch a fucking game all over the place, blah, 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 like that. I need to see it solid, clean, and clear lines. And they're 2 really good football games. I hate the fucking Chiefs. They're playing the fucking Steelers. And if the Bills don't beat the Chiefs, the Steelers might be the only team that could potentially beat them. And they need to be beaten badly. And the Ravens are playing the Texans. And I want to watch the Ravens. They're my team on Christmas Day on fucking Netflix. And they fucked up a stupid boxing match. Get your shit together, man. In less than a month, more than a month. It's the 17th now. So it's, so that's 13, 14, 13, 25. It's like 42 days to Christmas, something like that. So you got to get your ass in gear and get that shit fixed. All right, animal time. 25 monkeys of the 43 that escaped have been captured. So there's still some out and about. So hopefully they'll get taken home soon. Cats are better at word association than babies. Babies are still learning. It's cool, though. Animal cells capable of photosynthesis was created for the first time, which is really interesting to have a sort of cross plant and animal sort of hybrid sort of thing. Is pretty wild to think about. Death, we had Judith Jameson, a pioneering dancer in the Alvin Ailey troupe, died at the age of 81. Anniversaries, we have Interstellar debuted 10 years ago this week. The Santa Claus debuted 30 years ago this week with Tim Allen. Creep Show debuted 42 years ago this week. And Interview with the Vampire also debuted 30 years ago this week. Oh, yeah, and Nightmare on Elm Street is on its 40th anniversary this week as well. Some new soda drops. Sprite Tea will be dropping in May. So that's pretty good. Dr. Pepper Blackberry. Blackberry is a fruit now, man. Dr. Pepper Blackberry, Orange Cream Coke, and Pepsi Cherries and Cream are all set to debut in January. So we'll be seeing them sooner than later. Crush is Orange Crush, or they're not Orange Crush anymore, just Crush is creating a drink called the Back to the 80s drink. It's an electric blue flavor, which will be coming in June. The Ice Cream Sundae A&W is set to debut 1 year from now in November. At the D23 Brazil, we got our new trailers for Captain America Brand New World and Thunderbolts, both of which still look pretty awesome, despite what people were saying about the Captain America one. That's just a bunch of racist, fucking hater, toxic shitbags. But it looks fucking good to me. And we got more Thunderbolts, which is awesome, because I love that too. Crunch Tators are back. The potato chip sort of things that look like alligators, which are prevalent in Home Alone, which debuted 34 years ago this week, are going to be coming back next year. So that's pretty cool. Madeline Klein, who was in Glass Onion, who was one of the sexy ladies in Glass Onion, was David Bautista's girlfriend, is the new frontrunner now for the Black Cat in the new Spider-Man movie. Now Sydney Sweeney is getting booked up very quickly with Euphoria season 3, starting to get work on there. Barbarella, she's doing the boxing movie now. She signed up for another movie, so she's got a ton of work coming out here. So she's probably not going to be able to do Black Cat. So now Madeline Klein is the new frontrunner for that. The god-awful Netflix Hallmark Christmas movie Hot Frosty about the snowman that comes to life and turns into a hunky guy that debuted on Friday has a surprising Brooklyn Nine-Nine crossover, as the actors who played Doug Judy and Charles Boyle from Nine-Nine are actually police partners in this movie. Not for me to see that movie now, but here we go. The first look at the live-action Hiccup in How to Train Your Dragon's live-action film coming out next year. We got our first look at that, so that's pretty cool. And absorbent concrete that can filter and drain 880 gallons of water per minute and re-enters and makes it help it re-enter the groundwater is making its way around. So hopefully we'll see that soon. Maybe that'll help stop flash floods from happening if we can get that to work out and spread out a little bit more. And October 23rd, 2026 is when Jordan Peele's new movie is set to debut. And there's nothing is being talked about it yet, but there are rumors that he might have been up for the new Blade movie. Now that has been taken off the schedule. That would fit probably the perfect time for a Blade movie. I know it probably isn't, but it'd be great to see Jordan Peele directing a Blade movie with Mahershala Ali. Let's try to get that done. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, an hour and 9 minutes in. It is time for your MAGA Minute. Unfortunately, because our Democrats, Joe Biden and everyone else, Kamala Harris, are refusing to investigate the Russian interference into our election and the total hinkiness of the Starlink satellites being destroyed mysteriously after the election results came out, the fact that Elon Musk knew the results 4 hours before polls closed, also how Donald Trump said earlier in the year that you don't have to worry about voting because they have enough votes to win. All that stuff pointing to something should automatically do a recount. But our Democrats who are claiming that we should keep fighting have refused to fight and now are giving up and are letting them walk all over them. Fucking Trump visited Biden in the White House to talk about shit, and then and like they're all, yeah, it was a good ideal thing, and then Trump starts putting all these fucking lunatics in charge of various things that's going to destroy our country, and Democrats are just like, nothing we can do. Fuck it. Fuck America. So what I decided to do is I'm joining the resistance. Whenever the MAGA fuckbag shithead motherfuckers fuck around and find out and do stupid shit, I'm going to call them on it on the MAGA Minute. So here we go. They say that MAGAs now say that you should drink raw milk, but if you are unsure about doing that, you should boil it. That's what pasteurization is, except they don't boil it. They heat it up to turn it into drinkable milk. And they're against pasteurization, which is just basically heating up milk. Fucking lunatic, asshole, fuckbags. Muslims for Trump are upset that he is going against what he promised them. Shocker. Oh my God. He said he was going to work on fixing the Palestine problem. And he's not going to. He's going to back Israel. Holy fucking shit. Who saw that coming? Motherfuckers. Blacks for Trump. Now, this really isn't that big of a deal because it's a fake organization and the black people they pay to do that. They don't even pay black people. They have white people wearing Blacks for Trump on their shirts. But it's funny that, you know, those black people who did vote for him, not a small majority, actually, the black men and women are the ones like 83% and 90-some% voted for Kamala Harris. So they're not really the problem in this election. But the percentage that didn't, there's no representation of blacks in the Trump White House. You should be surprised, you know, if, you know, you're blacks for Trumps, you should at least have some representation. But sorry, they're a bunch of racist fuckbags. Iowa Trump voters are now looking up on their search results how to change your vote because they feel they made a big mistake voting for Donald Trump. You dumb fucks. You're so fucking stupid. I don't know what else to say. You're fucking moron, asshole shitbags who have no idea what the fuck is coming your way, and you're going to be fucked now. And now you're just starting to get it. Guess what? It's your fucking fault. I'm going to laugh in your fucking faces. Iowa, fuck you, you piece of garbage. Also, another big search engine in red states is how tariffs work. So you hear all the stuff that tariffs are going to save us, and you take his word for it, a guy who's a convicted felon, rapist, racist, traitor who sells our secrets to enemy powers and is a piece of garbage. You take his word for it that tariffs are good for us, but then when you start hearing about how we're all saying it's bad for us, you decide to look it up, and you're like, oh, fuck, what do we do? Maybe you should have done your research sooner, you dumb shits. That's your MAGA Minute. You know, it's been over 2 minutes. It's going to be like 2 minutes. I'm still going to call it MAGA Minute because it has that alliteration. But speaking of other fucking MAGAs, hey, guess who's a new MAGA now? Fucking Sylvester Stallone. So fuck you, Sylvester Stallone. I don't give a fuck that your Rocky V movie came out 34 years ago. It's a shitty movie anyway. And now you're a shitty piece of garbage as well, backing Donald Trump, you piece of fucking garbage. No else is backing him up the fucking Rock. We knew he's been fucking backing up Trump. But hey, guess what? Since he announced that he was backing Trump like earlier last year, all of his movies have flopped, including this new one, Red One, which is only making about $30 million this week at the box office on a $150 million budget. It's a bust, you fucking MAGA piece of shit. Fuck you. Garbage. You guys are a bunch of fucking morons. You have no idea what's coming your way, and you have no idea how horrible it's going to be for your dumb asses. We know, so we're trying to get ourselves prepared. You fucks are the reason that we're in this situation that we're in. So fuck you, you garbage pieces of shit. Other anniversaries. Dr. Sleep debuted 5 years ago this week. Home Alone, I said earlier, debuted 34 years ago this week. The Crunch Tators were on that. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the first one of the series, debuted 23 years ago this week. And Arnold Schwarzenegger's Jingle All the Way debuted 32 years ago this week. Now, that's something we need to talk about real quick. We're talking about the fucking MAGA bullshit, The Rock and Sylvester Stallone. Guess who isn't a fucking MAGA, but is still a moderate Republican? Is Arnold Schwarzenegger, who actually is a decent Republican, and he might not, I mean, I agree with everything he said, but he would be a much better choice for a GOP president than fucking lunatic we have in the office right now, or any of the fucking lunatics we have in the office right now. And I kind of wish they would have gotten the Constitution changed so that he could run for president. I think he'd be a pretty goddamn good president, because he is a moderate, and because he's able to, he being an immigrant, he has a huge love for this country, and he wants to do what's best for the country. So he's been outspoken of that fucking convict for years now, and has been backing Democrats on a whole shit ton of other stuff. So if you want to find someone who's a big, strong actor type, look after Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, this would be good. John Cena is another good one also. He's a good guy too. So check out those, and fuck Sylvester Stallone, and fuck The Rock, and fuck you, MAGA. I'm going to do another MAGA Minute next week if you do some stupid stuff. And hey, I'm not going to be surprised if you do, because you're probably going to, because you're a bunch of stupid fuck bags. Death, Bobby Allison, race car driver, dead at the age of 86. That's a shame. I don't have anything else to say about that. We're on our final bit here for this week. Okay, paper then. Gillian Anderson and Peter Dinklage are set to co-star in the new Dexter sequel, not the prequel with Sarah Michelle Gellar, which finished filming this year. It was actually, I think, set to debut at the end of December, actually, surprisingly. But no, this is the sequel to the Dexter series that is in the works right now. So Gillian Anderson and Peter Dinklage joining that is pretty fucking huge. I'll talk about that as my last story. Guy Ritchie cast Benedict Cumberbatch, Rosamund Pike, and Anthony Hopkins in his new movie Wife and Dog. Don't know much about that, but that's pretty cool. This is kind of interesting. So the new Predator movie, Predator Badlands, which is set to come out next year from the director of the Prey movie, is doing a first for the Predator series. In this series, the Predator in Predator Badlands is actually going to be the hero. That could be kind of interesting to see how that's actually going to work out. But it's intriguing, and it's really interesting. A Betty White stamp is set to debut in 2025. Okay. First look at Scarlett Johansson in Jurassic World Rebirth, or Remix, or Remake, or whatever the fuck it's called. She's got her hair back. She's in the jungle. She's got a gun, so she looks like she's having a blast. They also showed some photos of her in New York in regular clothes with regular hair. So it's going to be probably a worldwide sort of event sort of thing. From Disney, D23 in Brazil, we discovered that Andor Season 2 is set to debut April 22nd, 2025. So fans of Andor, you're set for that. It is officially Mothman Week. In 1966, the Mothman sightings went absolutely apeshit, starting now with 2 straight ones, back-to-back days. That was in 66, so 66, 76, 86, 96, 2006, 2016, 2026, 25, 24. So 58 years ago, all the Mothman craziness was going on. That's all Baltimore stuff. We'll make that our last story. Patrick Warburton's birthday is this week. And the reason why I bring that up is because I wanted to make just a quick statement. One of my favorite movies of all time is The Dish, and it's a little seen Australian film based on a true story about the guys who worked in the satellite dish that stayed in contact with Apollo 11 on its way to the moon. And it's set in New Zealand, Australia. I think it's Australia, not New Zealand, Australia. Stars Sam Neill, and Patrick Warburton is the American from NASA who's there to verify that the Australian team is doing the right job and going by NASA's instructions, so on and so forth. So, of course, there's going to be a little conflict between him and some of the members of the staff. But Patrick Warburton in that film in 2000 is when it came out. He's got the broad shoulders. He's got glasses. He's got the hair kind of short and cropped. He's got the square jaw. He's fucking Superman, man. I'm telling you. Yes, he did voice Superman in the Jerry Seinfeld commercials back in the late 90s. But just a look at him. See if I can find a picture. If I can find that. I know I have the poster, and I don't know if that's going to be good enough. It should be. See if you get a general idea of what I'm talking about. But he looks and he sounds like Superman. It would have been a phenomenal Superman if they would have made a Superman movie in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's not the best view of him, but he's the guy in the glasses, obviously. Got that sort of Superman look to him. And then just another view of him from the movie as well. So I think he would have been perfect, but it's his birthday today. And so I just want to talk about how I think he would have been a perfect Superman. So local stuff will be my last story for this week. License to Ill, the Beastie Boys album came out in 1986 this week. Green Book debuted 6 years ago this week. Local news to end tonight's episode. First up, Hans Zimmer will be doing a live show at CFG Bank Arena on February 7th, 2025. I think I kind of want to go, and I might ask for it for Christmas. He'll be doing this live show, which has been getting a lot of buzz on it. He's going to be doing pieces from all the movies that he scored. He's done The Lion King and most of the early Nolan stuff and some other things as well. I think he did the Pirates of the Caribbean as well. So we got some good stuff, and it might be interesting to see that. So he will be at CFG Arena. Tickets go on sale next Friday for the show. I think I kind of want to go to it. So we'll see if I actually can. The Orioles, who have moved their left field wall far back, I thought it was just this past year, but I think it's been a couple years now. They decided that now we don't like that, so they're going to move part of it back out. So you're going to have a sort of more seats and a little bit more of a porch to maybe get more home runs instead of doubles and stuff like that, hoping that could help them win games. But also could help the other team win games also. So you got to be careful about that. So they are doing that. So we'll see how that plays out. And later today, actually, because it's 12:31 a.m. right now, actually in about an hour, in about 12 and a half hours, will be the first Steelers-Ravens game of the year. Steelers-Ravens rivalry has been one of the best rivalries in the NFL. It has cooled as of late, since they don't have the hugely flamboyant characters on either team anymore. And Lamar has missed a bunch of games against them with his injury, stuff like that. But when he has played them, the Steelers have owned them. So we're hoping that, in, let's see, I said 12 and a half hours. So in about 16 and a half hours, Lamar will be victorious in Pittsburgh. So we'll see. So it is Pittsburgh week, Ravens, Steelers, in 12 and a half hours. We also have the Chiefs Bills, which is a huge game also that everybody is hoping that the Chiefs get their asses whooped by the Bills. We'll see what happens about that. So that is that for that. Next week's episode. It was the week before Thanksgiving. So nothing really glaring jumping out at me about what's going to be interesting next week. So we'll see if I can find maybe the citrus cherry, give that a try, maybe try some of this other stuff. So we'll see what happens. All right, it's getting late. I have a headache. I've talked long enough. Thank you for watching my show. See y'all here back again next week. Real quick, I said joined Blue Sky and Threads this last week. Blue Threads, I haven't been getting a lot of responses on stuff, so I'm just kind of about it. And Threads just kind of there. So social media for me has really died off lately. So I don't know if I'm going to do more reading, more watching movies, more figure stuff out. I'm probably not going to be on social media as much because it's not as interesting to me anymore with the state of the world and the way things are going to be going here in a little bit. So we'll see what happens, and you can catch me on that. But I don't have anything else to say about that. I'm done. See you later. Oh, no, end stream. End. There we go.